Once upon a time, there lived a very old and very evil vampire. He had become a vampire so long ago that he had forgotten who and when it had happened. He remembered only that he had always lived in this castle, spreading terror among the surrounding villages and frightening the peasants. However, he did not scare the peasants too much because he had long since given up human blood, preferring the blood of wolves. He hated humans very much. It was unpleasant to bite them, and they would cry, scream, and ruin the pleasure. Besides, they were not always easy to catch, and the wolf was a smart and powerful animal. The wolves recognized the vampire's power and would bring him some of their blood, as much as he wanted, and then leave. They would return. There was a small pack of wolves at the vampire's castle. One day, a heavy rainstorm hit the castle. It rained for hours, and the vampire could not leave his castle. His wolf friends, who came to him, had wet fur and smelled of wet dog. The vampire became even more evil and unpleasant because of this. But one evening, as he was just waking up, someone knocked on the castle door. The vampire did not want to open the door, but his curiosity was piqued, and he was tired of sitting in his castle every night. It turned out that a kind fairy had knocked on the door. Her wings were dripping with water, her dress was soaked, and her magic wand was wet. Even her pointed ears were dripping. "Please, let me stay here for the night," she asked. The vampire reluctantly moved aside, as even wicked vampires know that they cannot refuse a kind fairy, or something terrible will happen. The fairy sat by the fireplace, spread her wings, and prepared to thank the vampire for his hospitality. But he roared at her and explained that he was an evil vampire, that he lived alone, did not like people, and was a bloodthirsty monster. Therefore, as soon as the rain stopped, the fairy had to leave the castle immediately. The fairy smiled wisely. She was much older than the oldest vampire. The rain continued to pour down night after night. The fairy sat by the fireplace and did not ask for food or water. The vampire's wolves had long recognized her and lay at her feet like soft cushions. Even the fairy's stories were listened to by the visitors. But the vampire was very dissatisfied. Now it was possible to chat with the fairy by the fireplace, but he liked his castle, liked to be sad, angry, and complain, and the fairy's presence did not allow him to do so. Finally, the rain stopped, and the fairy prepared to leave. She asked the vampire what she could do in gratitude for his hospitality, but the vampire was unyielding. He told her that he did not need any gifts from a kind fairy. "How about this?" she said. "I can make you powerful, and you will always have to deal with fear, but your victims will be happy and grateful, and you will be immortal and always well-fed." "What will I become?" the vampire asked. "I will make you a dream catcher," she said. "You will feed on people's dreams, and they will be grateful to you, and even hang your symbols over their beds so that you can come to them more often." This seemed tempting to the vampire. He agreed. And that's how dream catchers appeared in the world. And the vampire, who was no longer a vampire, was very happy, feeding on people's dreams and having enough to eat for eternal times. His victims were always happy and grateful, and he was all powerful.